Hi, friends. Welcome to Brit Stick Stories Unstrung. I'm your host, Brittany Schuit, and I am here with our first ever guest, JJ Suriano.
Hello.
Hi, JJ. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
So I'm going to embarrass you for a second, and I'm going to talk about like how amazing you are and run through all your accolades because there are a ton. Okay. But for those of you who don't know JJ, she is an amazing player, and the reason I chose her first is because she's the type of person that you want to build an interview series around, and you'll soon find out why. So JJ came out of Baltimore, and she went to Bryn Mawr as a 4-year varsity goalie, a 3-time IAAM A Conference All Conference selection, a 2-time All Metro Second Team honoree, and a Skywalker's Club lacrosse player with 423 high school saves. That was just her career before college. And then she went to Maryland. And so I'm going to take a second and run through all these accolades. Let's start out with what you did in 2025. So in 2025, you were the All Big Ten tournament on the All Big Ten tournament team. You were inside lacrosse All American honorable mention. In 2025, you had a career high 18 saves versus Northwestern in the Big Ten tournament final. And that's tied for most in Big Ten tournament history and most by a Maryland goalie since Megan Taylor in 2017. You also were part of the NCAA second round versus number 12 Penn, where you had 16 saves and a career high 6 ground balls. And we've noted that you had 11 saves in one of your first career games against Georgetown in 2025. So now let's talk about 2026 because this has been a crazy, amazing year for you. And today it was just announced that you're first team All American. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yes. So I have sitting with me today 2026 Big Ten Goaltender of the Year, team All American, all Big Ten first team, Wharton top 25 finalist and Wharton watch list selection, Big Ten preseason player to watch, Inside Lacrosse midseason All American first team, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, and IWLCA Defensive Player of the Week after 16 saves against Syracuse. You led the Big Ten in saves, saves percentage, and saves per game at the time of the last release. The Big Ten release listed that you had 197 saves, which is second nationally, and .517 save percentage, third nationally. Guys, that means she saves the ball over 50% of the time it's shot at her. That's insane. I remember when making a 30% save percentage was a big deal. This is crazy, okay? She has a ton of double-digit saves in 12 of 19 games, apparently. And just, she seems amazing and fun. And we get to know all about her after our talk today.
Yeah, I'm excited. That was a good welcome.
Well, I hope you feel welcome. Why don't you tell people really quick what year you are in school, like how you kind of got to where you are and what you're studying?
Yeah, I'm a junior. I study public health science, very into medicine, into science, and this is a good kind of segue major into getting to PA school, which I right now I'm planning on doing post grad.
Wow, that's so exciting. Congratulations. And I know that you redshirted your first year. So how many years of eligibility do you actually have left?
So I have 2 years after this year, my senior and then fifth year.
Do you think senior year you're going to look at PA school or is it going to be Terps all the way or TBD?
Terps all the way.
Good
No
answer.
question.
Okay.
I'm here for five. I'm here for five.
Okay, love to hear it. Just had to make sure. Um, so, I know that I've seen your face when we talk about your awards, and I'm sure it's kind of like a lot or whatever. What's it been like in real life, like receiving these awards? I heard that you found out you were Big Ten Goalie of the Year while taking an exam. Like, walk me through what it's been like to just like have everyone pile on compliments.
I mean, it is really exciting. But I'm like, I'm just doing what I love, and then getting these rewards on top of it's pretty cool. But no, I mean, I feel like I'm getting these awards because I'm doing what I love and I'm having fun doing it. But yeah, finding out that I was goalie of the year during an exam was fun. Because it turned my phone off, saw all the notifications. I was like, uh-oh.
Who was like
Yes,
your first phone call after finding out you won?
my parents. 100%.
What's your relationship with your parents? I read an article that was talking about how you chose to go to Maryland because of your family ties, and that your dad and mom kind of like helped you out with things. But just talk me through your family involvement with lacrosse.
Yeah, totally. Growing up, my parents didn't play lacrosse, but growing up in Baltimore, you get thrown into lacrosse at some point. My aunt actually played from elementary through pros. Molly Wolf, she
Oh wow.
played
Oh
at
yeah.
Loyola from 2012, 2016,
She was
all of
amazing.
there. Yeah, looked up to her a lot. And then just kind of got thrown into goalie at one point. Didn't want to do it. Definitely cried a little bit, and then absolutely loved it.
Normal.
And then goalie from there on out. My parents have been huge supporters of me during COVID, especially. You know, my dad and I, we got a strip of used turf for sale, threw it in the
Oh
backyard, got a lacrosse goal, and we would go out there every day for at least an hour, and he would just shoot on me.
my
So
God.
he takes a lot of credit for where I am today, and I give it to him. But no, love having my family close by. They come to everything that they can come to, which is a lot. And my brother's a huge supporter. I hug him first after every game, but
Oh.
family is absolutely huge. So I was really excited to be able to stay home and see them more often than if I were to go somewhere farther away.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge part. I transferred back to Maryland and I was like, it was hard when I was out in Louisville and Kentucky for them to come see games. So
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Like it didn't feel like a game unless I could give the little fist bump
Oh
to
yeah.
my dad and my grandpa.
Yes.
Um, well, so, I have watched y'all season and you've had some amazing games and I've been like screaming at the TV and freaking out. And, I know that there's been a lot of times where you've changed the game and there's been an impact, but the one that kind of stands out to me, lay it out for people who didn't watch, it's the Big Ten quarterfinals, so the game before the semis when you played Hopkins. And that game was amazing too. And you played amazing in that. But in the quarterfinals against Ohio State, you guys are up 10-9 and there's 27 seconds left. And here comes Zoe Coleman from Ohio State and point blank, you make the save. Could you talk me through like what you remember about that moment?
Yeah, I feel like we had a timeout right before, so we're all in the huddle. And our defensive coach, Coach Kennis, she's in the huddle saying, just play lacrosse, play together, talk, do it together. And I was just smiling so hard in that huddle. I don't know nothing was going through my head, but I think I turned to one of the other goalies and said, I'm ready for this. This is why I'm here. These are the moments I live for. Like, this is so much fun.
You knew
And
you were going to win.
yeah, we left the huddle. I could not stop smiling the entire time from the huddle to the goal. Could not stop smiling. I just felt good. And then I just remember it was a feed. So I turned around, she shot. I trusted my instincts, went to the spot. And then it was just the biggest sigh of relief. But then I was like, we got 25 seconds left. Let's clear the ball. So
Mm-hmm.
then just kind of playing keep away for the last 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then my teammates running to me after that when the game ended was one of my favorite memories being a Terp just because of the love they showed me, the screaming, hitting my helmet. That was definitely a really special moment that I'll remember for a long time.
Do you think like best save of all time for you
I
so
think it might
far?
have been. I think it might have been. It was
Okay.
just such a good moment
Oh,
for
that's
everyone. The vibes were so high.
Well, let's keep riding those vibes into the
Exactly.
NCAA tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the NCAA tournament, what can we kind of expect from the Terps? Like, what does your preparation look like in comparison to regular season? Are you guys changing a million things up, or are you kind of just like, let's do us? Like, where's your head at?
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel right now. We're really trying to focus on the little details. I know one of the things we've been working on a lot this last week has been working on the clears, just something that's super controllable. So we're working on just the fine details, seeing the best method that's going to work for that. Um, and it's just getting all the little bits and pieces together to have as smooth of a game as possible. But at the end of the day, play Terps across, we'll get a good outcome. So not reinventing the wheel, just good vibes and getting all the little things.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of consistent for Kathy's reign as head coach at
Yeah.
Maryland. It's let's play Maryland lacrosse. Let's
Yep.
just do our thing, nameless, faceless opponent, and if we do what we do, we're the best in the
Yep.
game.
That's it. I've heard that same speech maybe 15 times.
It
Because
doesn't
it's
change, and
true.
it works. It
Yes.
works. It works in your story,
Mhm.
not just because you're amazing. Obviously, you're amazing, but like everybody loves an underdog or a comeback or however you want to
Mhm.
phrase it. I feel like for you, you had this career in high school where you played every second and then you go to college. And I don't think a lot of people realize that on great teams there's multiple amazing goalies, and
Yeah.
it could be staggered ages. And I always call it like goalie world, that you have this
Yeah.
place where other people who understand you and love you and you're in competition with, but just like I might be in competition with other defenders on the field for playing time, your teammates. And so I think it's a unique environment. Could you kind of just like let us into that and kind of talk us through what's changed in your mind, like from your first game when you finally got playing time to like middle of and to now, almost two full
Yeah.
seasons later?
Totally. Coming in, I'm so thankful, but my coaches redshirted me. They told me that fall. So I was able to start wrapping my head around, all right, I'm going to get 0 minutes. I mean, I'm behind Emily Sterling, 5th year, phenomenal goalie. I knew coming in, Emily was going to play, and I was fine with that. And once they told me what my role was going to be, it took a little bit for me to buy into it just because, I go from playing all the time to playing zero, like you play 0 minutes. So that's just an adjustment. But I really bought into that role and I looked forward to being the scout goalie every day. I would play a high arc, low arc, be active, go lefty, who knows, whatever opponent we were playing, I was trying to mimic them. And that also honestly taught me some more skills and added to my game. And then I was just the biggest cheerleader that I could be. And it was so much fun. And then at the end of that season, my coaches said, you got to get ready, prepare, fight for your spot for next year. It's not guaranteed, but work for it and it'll be yours. So I spent, that whole summer just working a lot physically and trying to get my game ready. But I thought that I was ready. I really thought that I was ready. And then my first game of my sophomore year, my debut, not thrilled with how I played. I think from where I wanted to perform, I made the moment so big. Like, first game, I got to make a statement, made the opposite of a statement, and it happens. But I think the piece that I was missing was that mental piece. And over the course of last season, I talked with a lot of goalies, tried to pick things from their game mentally that helped them, and try to find little tools that could help me. And I think by the time we got to the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament last year, I was able to get into that groove a little bit more from being a little bit inconsistent, having a high game, a low game, and not really consistent from week to week. I think I was able to get in the groove. And then this summer, right before I left, the coaches said, what's going to take you from a good goalie to a great goalie is you getting in the right headspace and getting your mental game where it should be. And I took that part very seriously. And I think a lot of goalies overlook that part of the game. I worked a lot this summer finding little methods that help me reset, get myself in a good headspace for the game. And I've really carried that on into this year. And you still have to work on it every day. Some days you might struggle to get back to where you need to be, but I think that I have found what's worked for me to reset, to get myself where I got to be for the game. And I think that has shown in my performance this year.
It reminds me of something my dad used to say, that it's not that it's not a big deal if you don't make mistakes, but the most important thing is how you react to your mistakes
Totally.
and how you react to things that happen. And so it sounds like you've definitely embodied that. I'm curious, is there, anything that's like a go-to for you that you could impart on like kids, like as soon as a goal scored or as soon as something happens? Like, is there's anything you're saying in your head, or you go into a specific teammate, like what works for you mentally that you found with all this extra training?
Yeah, so what's been nice is I've been coaching goalies for a couple years, so I'm able to kind of pick apart what I did and be hypercritical, which can be good, can be bad, but it's looking at it from a very objective lens.
Mm.
So I talked to Jess Wilkes before the season started, great All-American goalie here at Maryland a couple years ago, and she said, I go through a checklist. Was I set? Did I see the ball? And did I move at the point of release? And if you go through that checklist and it's all yes, it's just a great shot. If you can go through that and say, oh, maybe I didn't see it too well, or maybe I moved too early, then you can kind of go back on that, readjust, and move on from it. But rather than looking at it as, oh my goodness, I got scored on, this stinks. All right, I got scored on. How am I going to fix it? And then it's looking to that next ball. You can't do anything about the goal that just went in. So it's making those adjustments, not dwelling on it, and looking to the next play.
Yeah. Is there, let's say a couple goals have been scored in a row and you are in your own head and you're trying to help yourself out, but you're obviously coaches and teammates love you. They want to help you too. Like, what's your advice to coaches, or what would you like to hear as a goalie when you're going through those tough moments?
Yeah. I think every goalie needs a little bit of something different. Some goalies need a, hey, you're good, you got it, I'm here for you. I am a goalie who likes some tough love. So I need a JJ, here we go. Let's get the next one. Let's save it. Here we go. I just respond a little bit better to that, gets me a little bit fired up. So I think for coaches and for teammates knowing what your goalie needs, because it is a little lonely out there. Not everyone really understands, but my goalie world this year has been phenomenal. Every year they've been great, but this year they've really, I just walk over to them, say what I have to say, they say what they have to say, and I'm reset and I'm good to go because they understand more so than some of my other teammates will.
Yeah, I get that. Not feeling isolated is huge. Yeah. Have you been the only goalie on the team before? And in that situation, how did you feel part of the team since you kind of have to do your own thing a lot?
Yeah, in club I was the only one for a little bit. But luckily we had a goalie coach there that could help out. But anytime he wasn't there, it was let me just try to figure it out on my own. you know, it's definitely a little bit challenging, but um, like I said earlier, you can't reinvent the wheel sometimes. So kind of get through the game, watch film, look back on it later, and learn from it. And in the moment, just staying calm. You're gonna get scored on. It's very rare that you have a shutout. So just knowing you're gonna get scored on, and then how you respond to it in a positive way.
Do you think like as you went through this transition in finding that there was a year where you focused a lot on the physical, there was a year you focused a lot on the mental and prep, and obviously the combined is why you're so amazing now. Do you think if you could identify one thing physically to work on and one thing mentally to work on, what would those be?
I would say biggest thing physically and something that I learned coming into college, which was a big adjustment, is I need my feet to be set. If I am
Mm,
on the move and my feet are not set, I find it very hard to make the save just because I might be leaning one way, I might be opening up more of the net on this side, or I'm just not balancing, can't get a good explosion off. So I tell goalies I would rather be set and out of position than trying to get into position and having my feet moving. So that's the biggest thing I'd say, get your feet set. It's easier to see the ball and then easier to find the ball, easier to get to it. And then I think mentally is just finding a reset that works. And that was something that I've been working on all season. And I think I've finally been able to find something that works. It's not one specific thing. It might be one of the 5 resets I have, see what works in that moment. There'll be one that I'm a little bit frustrated about. I'll walk out of the cage, jog around the crease, go back in. It's just finding something to physically reset you or to tell yourself. I have a little mantra before every draw. I say, I'm steady, balanced, patient. I save every ball. That's what I tell myself, gets myself
mm.
ready to go and locked in.
As a defender, we had like our go-to. We all were supposed to have our go-to sentence, and
Mhm.
mine was like, "I am the best at ground balls. No one can beat
Yep.
me one-on-one," and just owned it. Like that was my thing. So it sounds like there's a lot. It's kind of exciting as an alum to hear that there are a lot of things that have kind of carried into
Yeah.
Maryland's over Kathy's career. What 15, 20 years later? I don't want to do the
I mean,
math.
we all have a word. We have a little collage in our locker room, and we all have a word for the season, and it's what you bring to the team. So mine
Oh,
was goldfish, having a goldfish memory, and that's my word for the year. And we all kind of
oh.
have that little piece that we bring to the team.
That's a great tip for kids. I'm curious with your wanting to make sure your feet are set. What drill, like what can you physically do to practice that skill set?
Yeah, it's hard because if you know that you're working on trying not to move early, then you're gonna not move early. So you have to do it in game reps. So working for Goalie Smith, I've picked up a couple drills that can help you out, but one of them is just during warm-ups, whoever is your shooter, have them shoot normally, but every now and then have them throw in they shoot, but they actually don't shoot it. They stop
Mm,
halfway through, or they just don't release the ball. And if you see the goalies moving early, telltale sign that they're going early and they're not getting their feet set. So that's just a good way to see it. And then another drill that I like to do is working on your moving in cage, maybe moving from a feed from X to turning around. Whatever you do, the biggest focus is turn feet set planted. And if I'm not in position,
mm.
oh well, have those feet set. It'll be hard at first. You got to make a couple mistakes to begin with, but once you really focus on it and emphasize it for a couple days, it'll become muscle memory.
I would I would say that your save against Ohio State would at the very end is a clear example of your training in that because you had to sit tight
You can't do anything until the ball is released, unfortunately. So just wait for it.
Absolutely. You know, thinking about probably the hardest thing for goalies to go through, other than obviously like a shot right on the crease.
Yeah.
You know, we always say like, okay, we'd rather you foul inside the 8 and cause the 8 meter than the shot right on the crease. But the reality is that 8 meters are goalies are at a disadvantage, right? So, what advice could you share, or what's your mentality on 8 meters for those poor goalies that are trying to fight through tough games with a ton of them?
Embrace it. I personally love 8 meters because I think even though it seems like a high pressure situation, the shooter should score. I'd say 70% of the time. Not all the time, but the pressure's not on you. I like to say it's more on the shooter because they should make it. Should make it.
Okay.
So as a goalie, when I take the pressure off of myself, people don't have expectations for you to save the ball. So I'm not putting that pressure on myself. Obviously, I want to make the save. And at the end of the day, that's my job. So I'm hungry for that ball, but they probably should score on you. So it's the mindset where, hey, it's okay if it goes in because I'm not supposed to make it. But if I do make the save, then that's awesome. And that's a huge momentum shift.
Yeah.
So it's that fine line between I'm going to be okay if it goes in, but I really also want it.
Right. Yeah. You know, thinking about you, it's clear to me that you are a little unique in terms of how you go about things, how you think. Like all goalies are unique, but you have this discipline about you, and I think a lot of goalies kind of come across as like overly quirky at
Mhm.
times, or you can obviously see that they're a goalie. And to me, you don't really come across as a goalie, right? So I'm just curious, like if we were to ask your teammates though, what's like one of those things that makes you JJ, that is you on the field, that identifies you?
I try to be the biggest, most obnoxious, loudest hype man ever. I It is so easy to cheer for a team that's so good right now. So I'm screaming my head off on the field because my teammates are doing awesome things. And by hyping them up, I'm able to hype myself up. So I
Mm,
really like being a hype man because I can't get in my head when I'm cheering for other people. Um,
mm.
so the more that I can uplift my teammates and be that loud, obnoxious goalie, the better. Like I'll be dancing in the huddles, dancing like when the ball's on the other side of the field. Just try to bring that joy everywhere across the field and just bring the fun. At the end of the day, it is a game. It's important, but it is a game. But make it fun. Be obnoxious. Make it fun. Like why not?
Yeah. Well, so you're it kind of sounds like I'm always saying to my younger players, because I know that they've watched Inside Out, so they know what I'm talking about. And
Yes.
Inside Out 2, Riley shows us the difference in playing like with joy versus anger versus anxiety. And I think as a defender, I probably operated out of a place of anger more often than I
Mhm.
should have. But you know, being at Maryland, I assume it's still the same pregame dancing and the pregame walkthroughs. You can kind of hang out and do what you want and get in the right mentality, because they understand as coaches that joy is really at the center of
Yes.
playing to the best of your ability. And so I'm just curious, like, are you like, for me again, like I do think that I never really learned that until coaching. And so I operated from a place where I did let anger kind of run
Mhm.
my switchboard. What do you think runs your switchboard?
I think it's a good mix of anger and joy. Um, Obviously, pregame in the locker room, we're hype, we're having fun, and it's fun out there. Like I said, it's a game, we're having fun, I'm doing what I love. But I need to be a little bit angry. Something needs to just send me just a toe over the edge where I'm like, how dare you? Like, let's go, let's fight, let's battle it out. It is a game, it's fun, but also it's a battle out there. And
Yeah.
um, like, how dare you step onto the field thinking you can beat us? Come on now. Like, who do you think you are? So playing with that
Yes.
anger and that swagger, but also having fun while doing it. And it's finding that perfect balance where I'm not too angry, but not too like, blah, blah, blah,
It's like fun to cause a turnover. It's fun to make the save. It's fun to
Yeah,
win.
it's so fun to win.
For sure. Um, so, I'm thinking through, as a goalie, you probably have days where you're seeing the ball well versus days that you're not seeing the ball well, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I know as a player, one of my favorite things was like running full speed in the clear, and I felt like my feet weren't even touching the ground. But when I got into modes like that, like I couldn't hear anything. Like I was
Mhm.
just like so zoned in. Like as a goalie, just like not knowing, like, what's it like as a goalie when you're just like on and you're seeing everything? Does it feel slowed down? Does it feel, like I said, like I can't even touch the ground? Like I'm not making my legs move, they're just moving. Like it's just so
Yeah.
automatic. Like, what is that like as a goalie when you're just in the zone?
Yeah. My brain is so quiet. I'm just in lacrosse mode. I'm thinking, kind of like I said, objectively versus subjectively. Everything that I'm thinking about is objective. There's no
Mm,
emotion tied to anything. If I make a save, sick. Let's get back to here. If I get scored on, uh-oh, let's get back to here though. Stay even keel the whole time. And everything looks slow. Like it's just I feel so dialed in. I'll say the Syracuse game this year. I feel like every shot that I was seeing was coming slower than maybe some other games this year where I'm like, whoa, these are coming pretty fast. But I just felt really in the zone that game. And I like to say, I'm like, I don't even know how I don't know what save it was. I don't know what happened after the save because I'm
yeah.
just so focusing on the ball and that's it. So it's just very quiet and very much ball focus and just commanding the rest of the field. But there's nothing going on.
Anything that you do that's like a weird goalie specific thing that like field players wouldn't understand?
Yeah, I think goalies are very superstitious and have their routines. I
Yeah.
personally, before every draw, well, when I go walk into the cage, every time I got to twirl my stick in my hand. I got to twirl the stick in the hand as I walk into the cage, no matter what, no matter when I'm walking in.
Like
And then
it.
before every draw, I don't even know. It's not the same every time, but it's the same concept. Click the pipe a few times, punch the hands out, jump, squat, kick the legs a little bit, hit the pipe again, maybe if it didn't feel right. And I go through that little sequence of events, and my team jokes about it. They're like, oh, she's doing it again. Like, or my friends will be like, "Oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it?" And I'm like, "You're doing it right. Like that's what I do. That's me." But it's that little thing there that brings me back to it grounds me a little bit. It's my routine. It gets me ready, zoned in, and ready for that draw and whatever comes down my way.
Sounds like you also mentioned like maybe taking a jog around the crease. You've identified that physical triggers shake you out of mental state or
Yeah,
put you into mental state.
totally,
Okay.
100%.
You have a bunch of individual things that you do mentally to stay in the game, all that kind of stuff. Is there anything that kind of makes Maryland special that you guys are focused on mentally that you think maybe makes you different? I mean, I know that Kathy's like one of the most joyful leading coaches in the game,
Yes.
and she leads with love. She just like won this award, right? So that obviously goes without saying. But is there anything else mentally that you think is setting Maryland apart?
I really think it's the love that we have for each other. I think, and we say it all the time after every game, we're like, sideline, you were so electric today. You helped us with that win. The girls that might get one rep every now and then or might not get a rep, or if you start, everyone has each other's back. And knowing that you can rely on anyone on the team, I think that brings a sense of confidence and calms you a little bit and you have faith in each other. And because you have faith in each other, you should have faith in yourself as well. And I think that the love that we have for each other, there's never any finger pointing. Like our coach, like one of our coaches says, point one finger at yourself, there's three pointing back at you. So there's no finger pointing. We love each other. We are crazy on the sidelines. We get hype in the locker room beforehand. And I think it's that hype and love for each other that gets us out of our head and brings us back to the present moment.
And that's really interesting coming from your perspective because you did redshirt, and so you do know what it's like to be on the sideline.
Yeah,
I think I'm hearing some consistency in everyone feeling like they have a role, and
totally.
so there's maybe the starters, the game changers. They go and change the game, and then
Mhm.
there's your support cast, and those people oftentimes set the difference for these teams because are they
100%.
actually bought in? Is that energy there? And I think there's a lot of coaches that are trying to figure out what's special about the Terps. And you 100% captured it. It's the ability of Kathy to make everyone feel, and the coaching staff as a whole, make everyone feel that they have a role.
Yeah, totally.
So as you know, as we think about goalies, like I know that most people are like, ah, well, I'm in goal. Like, why do I have to take the run test? Like, why do I, why am I worried about running? Like that kind of stuff. And a lot of coaches just kind of let things slide. Um, I see that you're a very active goalie, and from what you've talked about, you've obviously put an emphasis on the physical side of things. So I'm just curious, like if you started focusing on weightlifting maybe in college, like whenever that started to happen, that you started to focus on the speed agility side of things more seriously, did you see a big change in your goalie training, and why do you think it's important for goalies to still be able to be active even if they're not necessarily having to sprint all over the field?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing that I can recommend goalies to do is just strength training. This summer I had a little bit of I had a shoulder injury, so my first part of the summer was all lower body, and it was great. So I was working on my fitness where, if I have to go out, there's a ground ball and I need to beat someone to it, you can do that quick 10, 20, 30-yard sprint and be fine and be able to help your team out. You don't need to run 70 yards, but you every now and then you might need to help out in the clear. And then fitness, like strength wise, working on that explosive movements. You got to get across the goal really fast. You got to cover everything really fast. So the more explosive that your fast twitch muscles can be, the more reaction based exercises that you can do, those fast twitch muscles, the better suited you'll be. So the whole first half of the summer was working on lateral explosion out of my
Mm,
legs. I think that that has helped me to be more explosive and a little bit faster in the cage.
that makes sense. Um, I've been watching like WLL, the Professional Women's League, and they've got the Olympics. I mean, you're a prime age to be eligible. You have any aspirations to play the sixes game?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be the next thing we're going to be checking off your list, is that you're
Perfect.
gone and you're playing professionally and hopefully for the U.S. team. But I bring that up because sixes goalies can score goals. They can sprint down the field and put it away.
I mean, that'd be pretty awesome. I would love that.
Okay, so we'll keep the strength training and the fitness up. So when you're in the sixes element, you can go score a goal.
Totally. I'm ready.
I'm excited for that. So, this year you guys have a little bit of a different home setup. You've got this amazing field hockey and lacrosse complex, which, if people don't know, it's field hockey turf. So it's kind of like carpet. They
Yeah.
have to keep it wet, which it also is like the smallest field dimensions possible. And so it's probably one of the hardest, if you don't play on this field, it's probably one of the hardest fields to step into. And it's a definite home field advantage. That being said, construction happens, things happen. My senior year, we were playing at the soccer complex. You guys have
Yep.
had the privilege of playing in SECU Stadium, where you're playing this huge football stadium. And then, you're playing these away trips where you're on these different, like, these different field surfaces, whatever. Talk to me about how, as goalie, especially, like rotating between the different surfaces and, the home field advantage of Maryland's, like what it's kind of like to play in those environments, how they're different.
Yeah. Thankfully this year, I love field hockey lax, but this year having being on just normal turf has made it really easy to adjust to the other turf fields. Every now and then you'll have one that's a little bit bouncier, so you got to play the bounce shots and the low shots a little bit differently. Being on field hockey lax, I feel like I fly on that field. I feel so fast on that field. I fly.
Yeah.
Um, but it's definitely very bouncy. So it takes me a little bit to get adjusted from that field to whenever we go on an away trip and we have a normal turf field. It's just a little bit less bouncy, but it definitely is a home field advantage because we've all grown up playing on normal turf. Not everyone has grown up playing on AstroTurf or that carpet. So definitely we love playing on that field because we do get the advantage.
For the goalies that are rotating between grass, most are going to rotate between grass and turf. Most
Yeah.
aren't rotating between that carpet. From a training perspective, how can you help yourself to adjust quickly? Like, let's say you're at a summer tournament and the first game's on turf, or vice versa.
Yeah, definitely try to get as many low and bouncers as you can because that's the only thing that's going to be affected. The high and mid, it's fine. So really have your coach do a lot of bouncers just to see it. Especially, I know some of the creases during summer tournaments can be just mud or just dirt. We don't get
Mm-hmm.
treatment back there. So try to get some shots in the crease as well right before a game for 2 minutes just to see where the rough patches are, where the bounce is. And then from there, either know, all right, I got to wait for the bounce a little bit, hold back a little bit, or I got to go attack it before it has a chance to bounce.
Forgive me for not knowing, but like on turf versus grass, am I sitting back and waiting on one versus going at it on the other?
It really depends on the surface. I think when it's a little bit bouncier, oh, it really does depend. When it's less
Yeah.
bouncy, you gotta really get low with it. So
Okay.
you can kinda go to it and attack it a little bit more.
So when
When it
you're on like that grass, go after it.
Yeah. When it's a little bit bouncier, you can't go out and attack it because it'll bounce right over you, especially
Oh,
if you're kinda on a funky surface. Take a weird bounce, maybe bounce, start going right, bounce to the left, and you're like, "Okay, great." So I would say on those, and what we teach at Goalie Smith is track it all the way until the last second, then throw your hands at it because it's going to take a crazy balance. But the longer you can hold, like I talked about earlier, the better if it's on a bouncier surface.
you just like my brain just unlocked. Like I feel like I've seen my goalies like do that. And, oh, that's what's happening. Wish I'd done sooner. But thank you. Thank you much. So then I do want to know, Maryland, I feel like when I played, we were in the ACC, so we didn't have to travel as far. And when we did travel, it was bus trips and they were kind of short, but that didn't mean that we weren't affected by travel. I specifically remember going to North Carolina and having to play on their big grass field, 10 a.m., like after a late night, whatever. You guys had multiple trips to Michigan this year. Did you fly? Did you bus? Like, how do you think? I mean, obviously, not every game worked out the way you guys wanted. We had a particularly tough game in season, and that happens. We had a tough game when I was there against Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Like it's like that happens, and we're not using travel as an excuse, but the realities of travel. Can you just kind of allude to how that's kind of affected you guys as a team in ways that you try to combat that so that you perform at your best?
Yeah. So thankfully we had a quick turnaround. So we flew to Michigan. This was our second to last regular season game. Flew to Michigan. 2 days later, we had Ohio State. So we drove to Ohio State, then we flew home. Then we had the Big Ten tournament. So 2 days later, we flew back to Michigan, and then we were there for 5 days. So that was a really long trip, and I think we were all going a little bit stir crazy,
And
but
trying to get school done.
we found a way. We missed a lot of class, and we just emailed our professors and hoped for the best.
The professors are the best. They're supportive.
They really, whew,
They get it.
they help us out. But I think we're
Luckily,
all
they're used to the Terps lacrosse girls missing this time of year.
yeah. No, but we were all going a little stir crazy just because like we're in a new spot. We can't really leave the hotel, so we're all together. The best team bonding that we can have, though. I think away trips bring out the best team bonding of all time. And then obviously being in a different stadium, you get to see your highlight package at your field. So before a game, Maryland has a sick highlight package. When you go to another field, they're not going to play that for you. So you got to get hype in your own way. You're listening to their hype music. That's not our hype music. You don't have as many fans there. The lighting might be different. There's so many different factors. But at the end of the day, we don't let it, act as an excuse because at the end of the day, you should be able to play in any element. And yeah, you might have some struggles with it, but it's finding ways to counteract that and finding ways to navigate that and persevering through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so, when you're thinking about like being a good road team is the way that I like think about it, like playing well on the road. Um, and again, as a team, do you think that there's any specific like for coaches, is there anything that you can do to help your team be prepared so that like because I think playing on the road is a skill. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so obviously you've just recently spent an immense amount of time together, so you can speak to it. Heading into the NCAA tournament and stuff. What really is the skill set that you're focused on to make a good road team, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think if we're going somewhere where we're on grass, I think that as a coach, you should probably put us on grass because the difference between grass and turf is so different. So that is a little bit challenging. So I would say if you have access to a grass field or you're going from grass to turf, try to get that different because the ground balls are going to be different. The way that you move is going to be different. It's going to feel different. You might feel faster, slower. So trying to mimic the situation that you're going to be in before you get there, I think is so important because, like you said, preparation is so important. I feel so much more confident when, before a game, I will do shooting scout. So I will have one of my coaches shoot on me in the looks that a team historically does. So, say a team does a lot of out far shots, I'm going to get a lot of out far shots the week before. So I think preparation leads to confidence. So the more that you can prepare for those conditions, the better suited you're going to be. And then
Yeah.
obviously, hydrating, traveling takes a lot out of you. Hydrating, recovery, we get those little like fireflies. They help with, I don't even know what they help with. They just help with recovery, all the little
Are they
recovery.
like electrolytes?
Yes, a lot of
Yeah.
electrolytes, just a little we have a lot of everything, but really taking care of your body, especially on the away trips, because traveling does take a lot out of you more than you think, especially with sitting on a bus or flying. So just keeping your body as prepared as possible.
Are ice baths still a big part of that?
Yeah, we used to not do ice baths, and now we get the Kathy text, everyone ice bath right now. So, but we have a great ice bath in our facility, so it's made ice bathing a little bit more bearable. She did say that you guys have the tubs.
We were sitting in tubs. I was thinking on the road, like trying to figure out ice baths.
Yeah.
Or are you guys doing tubs in the hotel rooms?
We actually, when we were at Michigan, they had ice baths that they let us use, which was really nice in their facility.
Literally like 2 decades has passed. I'm so relieved to hear. We were literally a trash can. I mean, no complaints, like whatever. But I'm just
Gotta get it
saying, I'm happy to hear that you guys have those things. So when I played, Kathy had a lot of little things that she did to get us motivated. So
done.
I transferred in after my freshman year. It was her second year being there after Cindy left, and so we're kind of developing our own things. And so she did this thing with us where she like put up on a board and it was like win more draw controls, like less than 5 goals, less than 10
Mhm.
goals, score more than 10. Like it could go down the list, like goalies having over a 30% save percentage or whatever it was. We would get a sticker when we'd accomplish those things. And so
Mhm.
after the game, she'd read through the stats and we'd be like, yes, yes. And if we got 20 stickers, it meant that she had to take us to Sakura as a team. And like, no joke, she implemented that my junior year. Um, it made us like focus on the little things
Yeah.
definitely, and it made it about the foundation and not about the outcome. And she
Yes.
always was saying like enjoy the process, and I think that that became very process oriented for us, but it backfired because then we had to go to Sakura like 6 times. Like,
Double
is
fried
there
rice.
oh my gosh, absolutely. Is there anything that you guys like that she's trying to motivate you with? I can't imagine she's still doing Sakura all the time, right?
So we do Sakura, we do Terp Olympics, and we always end the fall with some Sakura.
Okay.
We used to do the sticker chart my freshman year, and I totally agree. It brings you back to all the little details, and if you do all the little details, you end up winning. So we would go through and be like, "Wow, we got 2 stickers today. We lost. No, no kidding."
That makes
Then it's
sense.
like, "Oh, we got every sticker, and we blew out the team." So that's awesome. Right now, we kind of got rid of the sticker chart, and right now we're being bribed with Starbucks because we love our Starbucks. Kathy will treat us to Starbucks if we just go no mental errors, which
Mhm.
I feel like it's okay to make a mistake, but limiting the mental errors that get you there, then mistakes will also be limited. But she says if you're going 100% and you make a mistake, great, it happens. But if you're doing these mental errors because you're not 100% locked in, that's when we don't love it. So limiting the mental mistakes, and she will take us to Starbucks.
Okay, what's your go-to Starbucks order?
I do a venti strawberry lemonade refresher with light ice and no strawberries.
If you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Okay, my teammates my freshman year, they always said I was either a flying squirrel or a spider monkey just because of
Okay,
how I moved in cage. So I'm gonna have to go with that.
that tracks. Yeah, I can see that. I've seen you move. I've seen you move. Okay, I can picture it. They told me I was a koala, and I've always taken that as like they look cute, but like they tear you up when you get close.
Yes, I love
Yeah,
that. That's perfect.
yeah. So kind of fits.
Yeah.
I'll own that. I'll own that. Do you think that there's like if you had like one song or two songs or whatever, like for me, there's like I love music. There's like a bunch of different songs, but there's the Hours, Alley in the Jungle, just like my junior year when we won the national championship, it was the song that they used to motivate us. And just like every time I hear it, it just like triggers something in me. And so I have this vision that I'm gonna have like this Brit Sticks playlist of like everyone I interview, like their favorite. You have to listen to this song. Like,
Yeah.
what is it for you?
So we have a lot of the same songs that we play in the locker room before games because we all either have a choreographed dance to it or we just love the song. But one of the last songs that we listen to before we go out is Welcome to the Jungle. And we have to play it every single time. That's our go-to right now. It's the final song that we play.
Okay, that's good to know. I like that. So, are there any things that like alum would be excited to hear? Maybe still traditions going on with you guys still today?
Yeah, so we do Halloween practice every year.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yes, each grade dresses up in a different costume. It's always a surprise. You keep it secret from everyone else. We just do relay races, act stupid. It's a great time.
What's
Um,
your favorite costume that you've done?
yeah, my freshman year, we were frogs. Because
That's
why
that's,
not? So
that's
frogs is
so
probably my
cute.
favorite because it was just so dumb. Like why? Like it was great.
That's
Um,
those are the perfect ones.
Great. And then I think all Terps know pink has a very important meaning to us. If you know, you know, pink.
Gotta love pink. Oh my gosh, you have been such an amazing guest. Thank you for sharing everything with us. Is there like anything that you want to leave people with that they should know about lacrosse or know about you?
I think that just have as much fun as possible because at the end of the day, yes, it might feel like it's the most important thing in the world, which right now in NCAAs, it does kind of feel like that. But also, it's so much fun. And you're doing something that you love with the people you love. So really cherish every single moment because, you only have 4 or 5 years to do it. Thank goodness I have two more because this first three has flown by. So really take in every moment. And you might not want to go to practice one day. You might not want to run the run test one day, but one day you're not going to be able to do that. And you're going to pray that you get to do that again. So just cherish every moment with the people you love doing what you love.
So true. So true. Oh my gosh. Well, I just truly, you are a joy to talk to. I'm so excited. I'm like kind of fangirling a little bit because truly I've been cheering for you all year. And honestly, I didn't know that you're apparently 5'3", that you're as short as you are because you play so big. So it's exciting to kind of meet the person that's inside the helmet and I really enjoyed just kind of picking your brain. So we'll be cheering you on heading into the NCAA tournament.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a part of the first Brit Stick Stories Unstrung.
Yeah, thank you. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
So before we go, I'd love it if you could just tell us like you've got a huge game this weekend. Like
Mhm.
tell us what's going on and how we can support you.
Yeah, so we got the 3 seeds. So we have a first round bye, which is great. So we are going to play the winner of Rutgers Princeton. They play on Friday. We will play the winner of that on Sunday. It will be at noon in SECU Stadium. We are just really, really excited for the opportunity ahead just to go 1-0. You go 1-0 every day. So really looking forward to that. Going to be a good day, pretty day out, great weather, great day to be a Terp. So I'm excited.
Great day to be a chirp. Yes. All right. Well, look, we will be supporting you whether it's in CQ Stadium or it's on, I'm assuming, Big Ten Network or on ESPNU. I'll be sure to link how you guys can watch. But go Terps. Thank you so
Go
much.
Terps. Thank you so much.